Just America.
I mean, if that's a legitimate question, so go look at Mexican eggs. Ask yourself, where are they stored? They're stored on the store shelf. They're not refrigerated.
I heard, you know what? And I saw that too. Go ahead.
Same thing with milk. People don't realize. In most countries, milk's not refrigerated. Why is it not refrigerated?
It didn't used to be refrigerated here either. I don't think. Because you know how they used to put milk outside the front door and stuff. And
So eggs have a membrane on them. Somebody in the chat will know the official name. That egg can come out of the chicken, can get rinsed off, can get thrown in a container.
The country, they allowed China, they allowed Mexico, they allowed Canada, they allowed the EU, they allowed the UK, they allowed Russia, they allowed China. Did I say China? See, they allowed all of them to fleece the United States of America. And woo, Jason Zelensky came out and said
he lost half the money.
He lost half the money. Look, you need to bring him up on charges because nobody loses over $70 billion. Nobody. I thought I was going to transition.
I was going to say, is Wayne waiting for me to click? I don't know. We got to fire our IT guys.
I know, man. Every half one of them.
We got the blind and the blinder. Hey, but happy. God, what day are we on? Tuesday?
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Our tech guys got deported back to San Salvador, and we had to do things all
on his work visa was still good. It turns out
they lied to us, Jay. Jay, how do you turn this off?
What's that?
How do you turn it off, or does it turn off by
itself?
You
really don't. You can turn off the screen if you want by hitting the bottom button like 3 times.
Okay, so wait a minute.
If you hold it with the buttons to the left, the bottom one, you hit it.
The bottom button right here?
Yeah.
Okay, hit it 3 times?
Yeah, it has like 3 different brightness settings.
Gotcha. I got you. I see it. Because I was like, this thing keeps running out of battery. So
yeah, it actually, I don't think it shuts off. So if you turn the display off, it doesn't use as much battery. And then you can also hit the top button to refresh it every now and then, because sometimes it gets a little out of whack. And then the number always goes up more. It's just so depressing.
Yeah, I know it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Wayne Dupree podcast. My name is Wayne Dupree. We have been broadcasting since a little bit before 2012. Happy to be here with you. Got this little baby off to my side right here, but you know, we'll talk about him in just a few seconds. Broadcasting on Red Voice Media. If you haven't heard of them before, make sure you check them out on Rumble. Red Voice Media. And then you can check out their website, rvmnews.com. Also, we share our show with Frank Speed, the Lindell Network. I think they're doing a little bit of change over there. So, but it's called the Lindell Network, which is Mike Lindell's network. And they also have a beautiful platform called Vocal, which is pretty. I mean, it's pretty. It's legit. And free speech. Get over there and sign up for it. I'm not getting paid to say that, by the way. So, but I'm just letting you know it is a good platform. I'm on it.
I've been on it.
Jay's on it. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I'm just checking.
Told you, I'm a Rumble baby on my videos, man.
Okay. All right.
And I'm on that.
Broadcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, Cloud Hub, Cozy, and Getter. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me introduce Mr. Jason Robinson from Minnesota.
Folks, happy Tuesday, day 14 of the golden age. I don't know about you, but every day it feels like 10 weeks worth of news happened. And it's the administration did this, the administration did that. And I think this is intentional. I think Donald Trump is using, like, he must have really good military advisors, because they will tell you when there's blood in the water, you just charge, and don't stop and don't get derailed. And like, I got to give it up to Wayne Dupree. RFK Jr. made it through committee. That son of a gun might be approved. And if he is, I got to think there's a good chance they go 3 for 3.
I told you.
Wayne said they were going 3 for 3. I thought they'd go 2 for 3. But nope. Man, this will be a big day, though. Let's get those guys confirmed. Let's get it going. I'm so excited.
And now, what I didn't say, and I was going to hold off, and I still should hold off until everything is done. But there's a method to why I was thinking they're going to pass everybody through. A lot of people on social media right now are saying that they're beating the Democrats. It's done. Yeah. It's over.
Nope.
Democrats are dead. I'm like, y'all don't understand. I mean, if y'all saying that, then y'all smoking cocaine or freebasing crack. One of them. I don't know what it is, but y'all are doing one of them. The Democrats have been they're the oldest political party in this country. They have outlived 5, 6, 7 political parties. They've been around for over close to 150 years, I think. They're not going anywhere. They will retool. They are hurt right now. There's nothing worse than a hurt dog. But they're hurt right now, and they're trying to look for a message. And honestly, to tell you the truth, they're not going to get a message, or this is me talking logical right now. They're not going to get a message until they have a standard bearer. Because everybody's just talking right now. But they don't have somebody who they can look to as a leader. Now, yeah, you could probably say Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is in California.
She's not a leader.
Yeah, she's in California right now. She's licking her wounds and stuff like that. Okay. Somebody has to come along with a message that reinvigorates the party. They don't have that. So right now, what you're seeing right now is what the Republicans used to do. I remember when Mitt Romney lost. We did the same thing.
Yep.
We did the same thing when Mitt Romney lost, because many of us couldn't believe that we lost. So we're like, man, I don't even feel like doing radio no more. I don't feel. Mitt Romney lost. Many people. Rand Paul came out with his book, The Tent. You know, he was like, you know, we got to expand our tent. That's what happens with when people lose. So, you know, all these people out here saying the Democrats are dead. They ain't dead, y'all. They hurt. They in the ICU. Okay, they're in the ICU. But right now, President Trump is, and I don't care what anybody says, he is testing the boundaries of the executive office. He is. Yeah. I don't care. I mean, and I know some people out there are like, no, he's not. No, he is. He's testing the boundaries of what he can do and what he can't do. And sooner or later, everything's going to be in court. So, you know, and the way that courts are situated right now, if it's constitutional, and I have to say, if it's constitutional, it's going to stand. It's going to stand. Now, Democrats have never, I don't think any president has done what President Trump is doing right now. I don't think any president has done what Donald Trump is doing right now. So he's setting a new standard going forward. Expect it. That's all I'm saying. Jay?
Well, I was going to say, you know, if you read the Bible, you know, evil never dies. You know, pick your favorite book, Lord of the Rings or whatnot. You defeat evil, Saruman, it just retreats, retools, and come back. All that's true. The Democrat Party is not going away. We got them on the run. We need to keep fight, go. This is a time where Republicans, President Trump, needs to take back ground. And we said that before the election. Republicans too often would just stop the flow to the left and slow it down. Trump is looking to take ground back. And that's where we're at politically. We need to take ground back. They are looking back and they're going, why didn't we let him get a few things done in 2016? You know, like we gave him 4 years to retool and he is back better than ever getting stuff done. I will say with your executive branch discussion, I mean, Democrats for decades, all the way back to FDR, have abused the executive branch, executive order. I mean, think affirmative action was just done by executive order. It wasn't even done legislatively. And that's been around for, decades. And Donald Trump is the first Republican president since Reagan to actually use the executive branch like Democrats do. I mean, how many times do we cover on the show? Joe Biden did this. He can't do that. It's going to the courts. Joe Biden did that. Joe Biden did the other thing. And Donald Trump is using that. And I think actually what'll come out of this is Democrats will kind of step back and say, hey, let's realign things and have our government work like it's supposed to instead of executive order. Because, like you were hearing 3 months ago, we need to expand the Supreme Court. Well, now nobody on the left says that. But they'll want to peel back that power because it's mutually assured destruction. A lot of the stuff Trump's doing is just because Democrats set the predicate. So I am just so excited. And as his nominees go through, and I mean, every day, like look up the news, it's like just, 5 great things happen. And I got to give a shout out too to Doge and Elon Musk. And we haven't talked about it much on the show. This U.S. aid exposure has been enlightening because it's breaking through to regular Americans. And they're like, are you kidding me? All these politicians are on the boards of these NGOs or the relatives are. And I mean, it's just a huge money laundering scheme. And I think that's why Democrats are struggling so much. You see AOC get out there last night, gave an interview. Oh, Elon Trump's the dumbest billionaire I know. And it's like, the guy's one of the most successful people we've seen in our lifetime. Like, obviously, he's not an idiot. You got that Jasmine Crockett or whatever her name is with the big eyelashes saying white supremacy is the most dangerous thing in the world. No, it's not. Like the fact of the matter is we are getting rid of all these illegal aliens. The Democrats are fighting against deportations. Falls flat. America spoke. We want illegals out. For sure, everybody wants criminals out. And more people are coming around to we need to get people that are here illegally out. And so, yeah, until they can get a message. But that's why Trump just continuing to go full force, all guns ablazing. They don't even know what to do. They're on the ropes just taking shots. So, and they'll retool and they'll come back. And I mean, honestly, they'll probably have a good shot in the midterms, as we've said on this show.
They will.
What'll happen is, like, as the economy stuff 6 months a year from now, if it doesn't bounce back as quickly as we hope, then all of a sudden, Democrats will be running on that in the midterms. But yeah, I am so excited.
Yeah, with now, I mean that when it comes to okay. So
no, just say it.
I've kind of pushed back on calling names and stuff to people unless it's Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. I really don't attack anybody's looks anymore.
Don't call them out.
I don't. You know why? Because I have issues myself. With myself. So,
if you put your face on the internet, people are going to make fun of you. And it's funny when people rip on me because I'll be like, dude, I grew up poor in a mobile home park. You don't think I've heard every insult? Like, what are you going to say to me that I haven't heard?
I know.
Heard 100 times. Like I'm balding. I got crooked teeth. Like, go through the list, baby. Like,
yeah, I know. You are country.
I'm country, baby.
You are.
And, I'm on that Generation X crowd where we just didn't care. It's like we love savaging.
That's where we are.
Right.
That's where we are. And I'm not dumb to the fact that last night last night my son walked in on me, and I'm watching Fred Sanford, and we're laughing and stuff. And
Fred
he was
Sanford
like,
could not be on TV today.
couldn't be on TV today, and that's a shame. But but that's so crazy because the stuff that they were saying on the Jeffersons and Good Times and Sanford and Chico and the Man and Archie Bunker, all those things that they were saying on TV, a lot of that stuff is being said on social media. You just don't see it on TV. You don't see it. You really don't see it in the movies, even though I wonder if the movie's going to change now.
I follow a lot of like nerd stuff, like superhero movies, content creators that do that.
Yeah,
and it is astounding how much this woke stuff is flopping and how much backlash they're getting. And I like to throw on their shows like this new Snow White. The trailer that dropped on YouTube had over 1 million dislikes. 1 million dislikes on the trailer. And all these shows, they had to reshoot you had mentioned Captain I Hate America, the new one with the Falcon in it. They've had to reshoot that whole movie 3 times. And then the writers in Hollywood that have been terrible for the last 20 years, they keep striking for more money. But the thing is Hollywood, and then I don't know if you saw like the Best Picture nominee. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. It's like a Netflix show where there's a Mexican drug lord who's a dude in the first thing, and it's a musical, and then he becomes a tranny, and then like all is forgiven, and suddenly he's a hero, and like the company she reemerges with was like helping find the victims of this drug lord that supposedly died. And even like the LGBTQIA community is like, are you kidding me? This is a horrible depiction. They even hate it. And it's up for as many Oscars as Gone with the Wind. Like, think of that.
For the first time, I watched Parasite a couple months ago. Great. I mean, honestly, Parasite was a good story. I didn't expect it to go where it went, and the ending was, wow, okay. But what Jay is talking about, what they have done to men in this country by making them feminine, and I'm not just talking about it on the street. I'm talking about in the movies, in these television series and stuff. There was called this rite of passage where mostly all the men and all the big time men and whatnot in Hollywood, except for your John Wayne types, they put on a dress.
Yep.
Okay. They put on a dress. It's humiliating. Now, some people don't, and their careers don't go as high as other people. Okay, fine. But what they have done to white men and black men and putting them in dress, a couple years ago, we were watching Narcos, Latinos, Mexican cartel. Oh no, Colombian cartel.
Right.
The men of the men. And it's like, oh man, this is kind of cool, man. Yeah. And then in the second season, then they bring the homosexual in there. It's like, wait, whoa. Right. They had homosexuals? It's like the cartels had homo, and they let it happen. And then, now that was a couple years ago, because Netflix and all these other movies and stuff, well, maybe not movies, but all these series used to wait until the second season to include that. Now it's a second episode of the first season, and then even some episodes 1 of season 1, they bring in the homosexual thing. It's like, oh, hopefully that changes. Hopefully that changes now, but we'll see.
I gotta say, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you saw this feminization of the male character, where the male character was either this incompetent buffoon or, like Al Bundy or whatever, or he was just an effeminate male that got like bossed around by his wife. And, in the black actors, still like played strong male roles. And it was interesting because I tell the story how I moved to the cities.
Oh, they
and I was
killed him
working
off.
well, I moved to the cities, the Twin Cities in like the early 90s, and I lived in a black neighborhood. I mean, I was the vast minority. I worked in a black store, and the black dudes I knew then, like they were straight up like alpha male black men. Like that was like their prototype. And now to see them trot out all these femmy little gay black guys, I'm like, wow, somewhere like those guys I worked with 25 years ago, they're just rolling in their grave going, what happened? What happened?
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing that I've noticed about TV shows back then is if they didn't want to toe the line and continue a strong black man in the family, they would kill him off.
Right.
And just make the mom a single mom, you know,
strong, independent woman, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, listen. Two things. President Trump is opening up Guantanamo Bay for illegal immigrants. Yep. About 30,000. I'm surprised it's not more. They must be the worst of the worst, I guess. But then again, where are they? I mean, I thought that they were being deported. Are they going and getting them from being deported and putting them in Guantanamo Bay and whatever? But then I told you to my audience, I told y'all that Marco Rubio is going to be the presidential nominee for the Republican Party in 2028. He's off to a great start right now. Not only is President Trump, first off, he's Secretary of State. Second off, he is going to Panama. Already got a win there. But actually, yeah, with them saying that they're not going to sign the contract with China, with the CCP.
It was a win. We take wins. We love
We
wins.
can talk about that in another time. But that was a win, and Marco Rubio's name is down there because he's and the photos and everything are down there with it. Even though he did it for Donald Trump, though, he was a great negotiator to sign the thing down there and get it done. Then he went down to San Salvador. Did you see that video? I was like, God, dog. He went in there speaking Spanish to the people, and I was like, oh my God, he is going to be the presidential nominee in 2028. He looked that good. I mean, and well, look, and I know people thought that with JD. Well, look, JD Vance is doing great interviews and kissing babies and giving the oath to people in Congress and stuff. But Marco Rubio's on the ground, and Marco Rubio, he's strong. You remember when he made fun of Ted Cruz? It's like, well, you can't even speak Spanish,
right?
During the debate, he's down there, blah 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 blah, and they're just talking, and I mean, you can see it like passing over, like, and then President Trump put him in charge of, acting charge of USAID. Good God. Why?
Well, I'm going to say we've talked about it on the show too. We thought the next iteration of the Democrat would be a Hispanic man or woman because they're just such a large Hispanic population. And honestly, with how many Hispanics are in America, while many of them vote Democrat, they politically align with Republicans more so than Democrats. Like your traditional Hispanic family, you know, they're married, they raise their kids, they practice religion, they don't like the tranny stuff or any of that. If they're here legally, they dislike illegals. Like they and somebody like Rubio, you know, he brings an interesting twist. Me, I'm not a huge Rubio fan, and I don't think Wayne's a huge Rubio fan either.
I'm not.
So when we're saying we think Rubio is a definite contender, it's not like, oh, we're pulling for Rubio. You're just looking at the tea leaves going, I can see it line up. And I think what will be most important is Trump has taken over the entire party. You know, like it is the MAGA movement in a way we haven't seen since Reagan. And I think that's where whoever the successor will be, they're going to be looking for that. So JD has performed really well. I could see Rubio taking a shot. DeSantis hasn't gone away. He's going to be back.
No, he hasn't gone away. And something hit him in his head because right now he's trying to do everything that he can in lockstep with Donald Trump. So 2028, he can say, I did this, I did that, and I did that. I was in lockstep with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump will say, well, yeah, he did everything I asked, So, yeah, but when it comes to JD, I haven't seen anything that JD Vance has done yet. So, I mean, and it's only a couple of weeks. I know.
Yep.
It's only a couple of weeks, but I haven't seen anything JD Vance has done, but I've seen 3 things that Marco Rubio has done, and he's ahead.
What's interesting too with the DeSantis thing, so one of the guys on our American Tribune team did an interview with a film producer who had worked on part of there was a bunch of people that descended on the Get DeSantis campaign, and he was a film crew for one of the friends of the show that went down there. And at one point, after like the dust had kind of settled, they were at an event, and he's like, I got to ask Ron, you seemed like a great guy. What happened? And according to him, Ron said, I got really bad advice. Somebody told me Trump was going to drop out, so I wanted to be first in. And I don't know if any of that's true or not true, but that makes sense. And then he's like, once he did, like, I got advice from a bunch of people that said he was just going to bow out, and then I was going to be ready. And then, at that point I was already in. So, because if you remember the early part of the campaign, he wouldn't even talk about Trump.
I know he wouldn't talk about MAGA, and that's what I was trying to get everybody to understand. He wanted MAGA's vote, but he wouldn't talk about Make America Great Again. He wouldn't talk about that. He was trying to distance himself. And
well, as I go back and look at the campaign, if that was true, if you say, okay, let me watch this over with the thought that Trump's dropping out, he thought for the first like 30, 60, 90 days, it makes sense. And his behavior, and then at some point, it's like, oh crap, Trump ain't dropping out. I got to try a new tactic. So that could be true. That could be false. Who knows? You never really know these things, but it's, I got to say it's, there's going to be a lot of different people.
Phil says Trump should push for term limits for Senate and Congress. Listen, I think it's 2 more pressing things since he's since he's getting high off of all these executive orders. One thing is a decisive executive action against sex trafficking.
Yep.
I think that needs to be done.
That'll be coming.
Send those criminals down to El Salvador. He said he'd take the criminals, bag them and pack them, send them down there for 20, 30 years. Give them hard labor. Have them chipping away at those mountains down there. I don't care. The second thing is, I think that there should be and this is me talking. I think that there should be a decisive executive action against proven misinformation think tanks and organizations. All those organizations out there to create it to be misinformation. I think that they should be brought up on charges because that's what has hurt the American people is misinformation think tanks, and they're buying these bots on social media and they're making people think a certain way and like the $900 million lawsuit for Melania Trump. I've been seeing tweets about that lately, and I was like, okay, let me see where I can find this thing in, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, and believe me, I don't. Sunny Hostin blocked me on social media. I don't get along with the woman. I think she's vile. I do. I think
she's an awful human being.
I think she's vile. She doesn't want anybody to get any words in while she thinks she's smarter than everybody in the room. That's Sunny Hostin. But when you're talking about a $900 million losing that and you still on the job, something's up. Because I've seen people sued and lose big time money and get fired because they cost their money, because they cost their company a whole lot of money. So I'm looking, I can't find anything, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's a lie. This ain't real. She won a lawsuit against Daily Mail. That's out there, but you can't find anything against ABC. You can't find anything against Sonny Hassan. I was like, oh man.
Well, what's interesting, you'll see, and it's
doing it again,
and it's kind of a tough thing happening on like Twitter X, and we've talked about, that's where a lot of Americans get their news now. I mean, whether you like it or not. And there's some people like that I follow that I know in the business that their stuff's good, like Colin Rugg. Used to work with him. He worked with my old company. Great guy. His stuff's legit. There's some people that get a little more salacious. But I hate to say it, there's like 15, 20 of these influencers that when a story runs one spot, they just copy paste, or put their spin on it and rerun it. And all it takes is one bad story to get in that ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's out for everybody. So, be careful who you follow and what they cover. Do they ever publish retractions or say, I'm sorry, or that kind of thing? And there's some good eggs out there. There's some bad eggs too. So just make sure you're careful. But it's interesting that you bring up that media apparatus and all that. Here's what's fascinating that Trump's doing. Like in the Pentagon, like big newspapers, I forget which ones, had offices in there so they could get the news right away. They kicked those out. Boom, like week one. If you look at the funding of like NPR and some of those propaganda machines that are just leftist, they're getting rid of those guys. They're going to cut the funding. And that's where this USAID thing comes in, because you're getting this whole ecosystem exposed. And for those who aren't following, or those who are on the Twitter, Data Republican is the best person I've seen that breaks it down. She's a gal and she runs all the NGO information through AI and makes these cool little charts. But you see this money laundering system where you take the money and Congress says, hey, let's give 100 million to whatever. The 100 million doesn't go to the end product. It goes to an NGO, a non-government organization. That non-government organization is full of Democrat voters who all donate politically. And it's also has employees or Congress members that all serve on the board. And so then it's like the Democrats like award a contract to themselves. And then a fraction of the money ends up at the end user, or what it was intended for. But it's like the government funds these leftists and a lot of times they're funding the influencers, that you see on the left. And the right doesn't have that kind of infrastructure. But I think as that leftist infrastructure gets broken up, as you cut off the money that goes into the NGOs and all these different organizations, you're going to see more and more of that. So it's huge. I'm just so excited.
Thank you. Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, a Data Republican follow too. I gotta say, Wayne, I don't know if we haven't talked about that, but if you check them out, like their stuff is pretty hardcore.
Who's that?
Data Republican.
Oh no,
I followed her for a little while. They crunch numbers on spending and different things. Downloads all the data and does all this stuff. It's an anonymous account, but so far I've not seen any of her stuff that's bad or inaccurate. And what she does a really good job of doing is where she runs it all through these different algorithms. She's a data scientist.
Okay.
And then eventually she spits it out into like a data map where you can kind of see how the money goes into here and then over to here and then over to there and back around there. And it really helps you visualize what it's going. And that's why this USAID thing, like we've all known this exists. We've all known there's a big money laundering scheme. There's a scam and whatnot. But like now that Elon got in the computers, and I know we have different opinions on should Elon have gotten in there, and the team he brought with him, like those are some autistic computer programmer nerds that like are like next level, and they're just cranking through the data. And the USAID, which nobody really heard much about, looks to be one of the epicenters of the swamp of the corruption.
My two things about the USAID thing is this: you're not going to hear a lot of things about any Republicans with this USA thing.
Right.
It's a partisan. This is going to be partisan, and it shouldn't, because USA, like I said yesterday, you're not going to hear about Lindsey Graham in Ukraine. You're not going to hear about Republicans, because the Republicans that were voting for Ukraine and stuff, I'm sure that their names are included with USAID somewhere, somehow. Okay, but you're not going to hear about Republicans, and that's not how you fix stuff. You should hear about everybody, but the press secretary came out and was talking about some of the things that they found with USAID, and she was talking about how the misspent and stuff. I was like, wait a minute. And I listened to what she was saying, and I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure it's way beyond USAID. I'm sure it's beyond other stuff that they'll probably find out. But all this stuff is Congress is doing.
Right.
Okay. So when they talk about this, and I understand they want to put it on Biden, or they might even want to put it on Obama. This is on Congress too. Congress is the one that puts all this stuff together. All these packages, those omnibus bills and stuff. This stuff is included, and Congress passes this stuff. You want to get in front of the American people and you want to talk about this stuff, then you tell the truth. Congress is responsible for it. Donald Trump did it in 2016. I'll never forget it. I said it in the opening of the show. He blamed, these are the people. Don't stop doing that. Keep on doing that. That's why I said for the federal courts, some people need to be brought before the federal courts in DC. Stop all that penny ante stuff and open up the federal courts to bad Congress people and lawmakers and lobbyists, and put their butts in court in DC and give them time and send them down to San Salvador.
Well,
San Salvador is a new place for me now since they take.
Oh my God! And you saw the video of them walking around that prison with all the guys standing there in their underwear. I'm like, oh yeah, every single child molester should go there. Like, yeah, you did something with a kid. Let's go to San Salvador. But it's interesting you say that, because part of getting this exposed is actually getting the data, because these guys are like criminals that just bury things and bury things and bury things. And like we saw in the Hunter Biden case, our government agencies get directed on who they can go into. And I think Wayne's right. Most of this USAID stuff will fall on the left. I think it's going to pick up a couple Republicans. I've seen some stuff about Lindsey Graham and McConnell. But understand they get paid from different people. So we've talked about on the show, the student loan scam is different. The colleges pay off the Democrats. The banks and the lenders pay off the Republicans. So like there's two different scams. Both sides are running a scam that screws over Americans, but they're getting paid by different people. So that's how it works. And I think the USAID, you don't get as much of the military industrial complex money through that. It's more the humanitarian stuff, but there's going to be some mechanism on the military industrial side, whether it's the Pentagon or whatnot, that they'll dig through and figure it out. And I mean, it's funny when you talk about the people Elon brought in. So one of the guys is his college student. His name's Luke Ferrier. For fun in college, he decoded a 2,000-year-old Greek scroll that was buried in Mount Vesuvius. Like nobody had been able to decode it since they found it for like decades. And him and a couple of his buddies were messing around trying to decode this freaking scroll from Mount Vesuvius. Like, that is a smart kid somewhere on the spectrum. God love him. It's crazy.
That's another thing. I'm not too happy about them doing it the way that they did it, because me being in the military, before I even went into the military, I had to get a clearance. I had to be checked out. I had to be walked through. A lot of people that I went to church with, lived along the street with, they were knocking on the door, asking questions and stuff about me. And there's a process that you go through to get access No, just for secret access. Now, when I got my top secret with a special background and clearance, they had to go a little bit more deeper. Took a little bit longer, but they had to go deeper because the stuff that I was going to be messing with was super, super, super secret. Okay, meaning like Elon Musk tried to get into a skiff a couple of days ago. You can't just go into a skiff. You have to have a clearance. And I was privileged. Well, I wasn't privileged. I was honored to have the clearance to go into a skiff. When you go into a skiff, that's like you're going into another world almost. I mean, you close that door, you're responsible for everything that you walk in here. Everything. You got to sign the paper. You got to sign the paper when you go walk in, and you got to document when you walk out. And there are cameras everywhere and stuff. And I mean, it's just crazy. But given access to these people who have not gone through the clearance, and I'll say that right now because the press secretary couldn't even say if they had a clearance or not, which is bad because the press secretary should know if they got a clearance. If they don't have a clearance, then they should be seeing sensitive material like this. There's things that you have to go through to get to have that access. That's just how things are. And we were talking about this earlier. Okay, fine. If you don't want to do it like that, then expect the other side to do it when they get in charge. Because we never seen Soros or all them doing what's happening right now. We never seen it on the government end. He might be hiring bad lawyers throughout the country and stuff, but we never seen Soros, or we never seen the dude in charge of Fox News and stuff with all his men. Never seen him do this. So now that it's being done, and if you just let anybody go in there and get to the servers, you might be happy with what you find, and you believe me, you're probably going to find some stuff. But when the other side gets in, they're going to do the same thing. And who's to tell? They might put people in Hollywood in that thing.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
I think the thing that I look at, and one, I hope the Trump administration.
And I'm coming as a veteran, though. And I'm coming as a veteran through a process.
And I'm agreeing with you. I hope and pray the Trump administration has done the appropriate clearances to give these people access. And I've not seen confirmed that they have, and I've not seen confirmed that they haven't. So at this point, I can't, like, if they did give these guys access without the right clearance, this is bad.
It's bad.
So, but I haven't seen where they have.
Right.
As for control, like, do I have an issue with these guys getting access? See, I choose to look at that as more uniparty versus citizen instead of right versus left. And, you know, the lines get blurred with right versus left, but I think the uniparty, the establishment, like all those awful people had access to our data. Like, I don't want Lindsey Graham having access to my data. Who knows what the heck he'd do with it, you know? But he has. And the bureaucrats, the government, all those people, like, they designed to protect the bureaucracy. So I am much less likely to be okay with them having my data than regular citizens going in. And this is where I kind of look at it as the swamp versus the citizen. And, you know, I hope and pray they got access, or that they got their background checks done. A couple of guys work for SpaceX, so you do need security clearance to work on SpaceX. And Elon Musk had that too. I don't know how high or what level or any of that.
Well, I saw that some of the people at SpaceX would not let him in because he didn't have, or he couldn't get the clearance that they got. I saw that about a month. About a month and a half ago. He couldn't get in.
So for those who follow Elon, because he uses drugs, he smokes pot and whatnot, he could only get so high of a level of clearance. And that actually came out as related to, remember when they sued him about his pay in Delaware, which is destroying Delaware now? In that lawsuit, like, he has security clearances, but his clearance could only go so high because of his documented drug use. And the guys they pulled into this Doge team, the 4 or 5 computer programmers, it sounds like they've gone through some of that vetting at least. through SpaceX or where they're working before. But I got to trust that the Trump administration validated them. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And I am happy as heck he did, because you get some smart, like you always know with computers, like there's some dude out there on his 14th Red Bull who hasn't slept in 2 days. Like you turn them loose in those computers, they're going to unravel the ball of awful. And that's what they're doing with US aid. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand that the love of wanting, but seriously, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it.
And let's just assume he did it right until we know otherwise.
If they did it right, then it's fine.
If he didn't, Democrats are going to impeach him for it. So,
and that's Jason. I'm glad you said that, because that's where I was looking when it comes to all these nominees. They're gonna let him in. They're gonna let him in. They ain't gonna say nothing to the midterms, and hopefully, and hope that they win the House and the Senate, so they can start impeaching. They're going to be impeaching on tap. They're going to try to make this thing a bloody impeachment thing. You watch.
See, here's what I think will be interesting, though. Let's see what J.D. Vance has. I want J.D. Vance to be scarier than Trump. I want them to see J.D. Vance and like, if we take, I mean, because that's why they put Kamala in, right? That you knew part of it was they couldn't get rid of Joe unless he got just so bad, because nobody wanted Kamala in charge, and that's where, when they were impeaching Trump, I think part of that was, oh yeah, we get Pence in there, he's our guy, right? Even though he has Republican behind his name, he's just a swamp creature. I think that was why the J.D. Vance pick was so important, because if they go to impeach him, they got to go, oh crap, now we got J.D. Vance, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I just don't see him hard like Trump. I see Rubio hard like Trump. I see DeSantis hard like Trump. I just don't see the bulldog in Vance.
Well, that's what he'll have to show. He's got a year and a half before midterms, because I am not shocked if Republicans lose at least the House in the midterms.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at the midterm Senate elections to see how likely that is,
Yeah. I mean, well, they already lost, that House thing in Iowa. I think it was Iowa. They flipped a seat or something already.
Yeah, there was a seat in Iowa that had been Republican for like 100 years that they switched to Democrat, but you aren't going to know until election day. I mean, and it's going to depend on how things are going from the country. If like these media narratives the left is firing out, like none of them are sticking. Like Donald Trump and his team so far are kind of Teflon, and they're just hitting them on so many fronts. They can't get, like with Russiagate, they just got this coordinated media attack. Every single person went after him on Russiagate. And I think once Cash gets in, and you get Cash and Pam Bondi going after, like actually prosecuting these people that did bad things, and the American people start seeing some of these bad things that these career folks did. Like there's already the letter out from, I forget who it was from, that was starting to coordinate the 51 intelligence agents that said the Hunter Biden laptop was fake. Mm-hmm. And like that information's already starting to come out. And I think when that gets in front of the American people, it's like, whoa, you got 51 of these intelligence agents who pretty much admit, like, this laptop's not, we don't know, but let's go say this because it's going to hurt Trump. I mean, and it'll be interesting because, like I say, it is the people against the government right now. And even some Democrats are joining on, like Democrat citizens.
You know what? I probably do it every month. I'm going to see what the number is going to be. But I put out a poll to see if people trust the government now. And now versus, do you now trust the government? And I'm hoping that people was thinking, well, since Trump is in office, things have changed. People haven't changed their thinking. They still don't trust the government.
I think they identify Trump as outside of the government. And, I think they look at Trump is the avatar. Even though he's a billionaire, he's the avatar of the everyday citizen that we're sending to DC to drain the swamp, you know. And I just saw some people in the chat that were talking about like losing the House in the midterms. Just to clarify, folks, I'm not saying I want us to, but we lost seats this election, even though Trump won in a landslide. And that's where House races get really weird out there, you know, based on the redistricting. But pre-election, we had more House seats than we did during the election. And with how much Trump won by, I would have thought, if you just showed me the Trump number, that we would have picked up 5 or 10 seats.
Well, even that closed toward the end. Even those numbers closed. Yeah, even that number closed toward the end. But no, I agree with you that we should have picked up more seats 2 years ago, and we didn't.
Right.
And then we should have really increased this time, and we didn't. Especially when the economy was as bad as what it was. But somehow, some way, you know, out there in California and whatnot, you know, they found a way to get some seats back. Want to profit
for like 12 weeks.
I know, right? You want to profit from the world's most productive oil basin? Bloomberg calls the Permian Basin the world's most important growth engine for oil production. Now there's a way for everyday investors to collect monthly checks from this incredible oil hotspot, and it's not a stock or EFT. Instead, you can own actual royalty rights in over 380,000 acres of prime oil and gas fields. And the best part, 95% of all income from these investments gets paid directly to investors like you. You can simply sit back and collect the royalty checks month after month. Passive income, baby, passive income. You can get started with just $25 through any brokerage account. Visit DupreOilBoom.com now to learn more about this opportunity from the Oxford Club's chief income strategist, Mark Littenfield. That's DupreOilBoom.com to learn how to start to collect Permian Basin oil royalties today. If you love coffee, and I got my coffee. I did get my coffee, by the way. Thank you so much for my coffee. You need to check out
SplitRockCoffee.com. Use promo code Wayne.
Split Rock Coffee. Split Rock Coffee. You can drink it in the day. You can drink it in the night. They have cold. They have hot. They have this. Oh my goodness. They have this. If you like cold coffee, they have these pouches with coffee in it. My mom used to make sun tea a long time ago. She used to take the tea bags and put it in the thing and set it out by the sun. And by the end of the day, you know, you got tea by the sun.
Sun coffee, is that where
this cold coffee, you put these pouches in, and they provide you the container to put the tea in. You put the bags in, you put it in your refrigerator in 24 hours, or maybe even less than 24 hours. And that is dark, rich coffee. And all you need to do is put some ice with it or put some cream with it, and it is good. It's good. But then the hot coffee is great too. I ain't gonna lie, the hot coffee is great. Once you open up that thing, and it smells like a coffee house. So check out, and it's owned by veterans. So check out Split Rock Coffee.
The other cool thing, and this will affect a lot of us old folks, right? It is actually low acid, so it's better for your stomach.
Yeah, who's old, by the way? I'm trying to say I'm old.
No, I'm old.
He is old, though. He is old.
At least I'm maybe broken down is better. Maybe I'm not as old as people, but like there's less tread on the tire, you know.
Broke it down. I like that. He broke it down. All right, we're getting ready. We're getting ready to roll up out of here. We broadcast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between 12 and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. we don't broadcast for 3 hours because people just ramble on and on and on and on for 3 hours. We try to do as much as we can. Yeah, see, that's another thing. He installs a legal server to seize all. See, you just can't go in there and put your own server in there either. You know, that's not cool.
There's going to be a lot of interesting things to come out of this.
Oh Lord, that's not cool. But President Trump did say that everything that happens goes through him, and he makes his decision. President Trump has the last decision, and that's how it should be. You know, he's president of the United States, so Elon Musk might go in there and say he wants this and that and that, but President Trump was like, "Well, we're going to do it this way." That's just how it's going to be.
Well, and that's a difference too between Trump term 1 and Trump term 2. Like, Trump was a businessman, and like, he could go on a job site where they're building a construction tower. He can make a decision right there for what he was going to do, right? Like, we're gonna make it orange instead of blue or whatever. And now, like, you got to work in the government mechanism, and that's where Elon is at. Where Elon is just used to walking and doing whatever he wants, and government doesn't let you do that. So I think that's where the Trump Elon dynamic will be good. Where Elon will come in and go like, "Oh, let's do this," and Trump will be like, "Yeah, bro, you can't do that." Like,
but then again, we did find out that he did spend $300 million on an election. So elections can be bought.
They've been bought for decades, man.
Yeah, but $300 million. I wish I had $300 million. I would give you $75 though.
75?
Yeah, just to get you started.
$75.
Yeah, just to get you started, because breaking news. Tom Homan, I call him Homan's Raiders, but he's threatening to jail the governor of New Jersey.
Did you see that clip?
Concealing an illegal alien. I didn't see the clip, but
Murphy got out. He was getting interviewed, and he basically said, "Yeah, I got an illegal that lives in my house above my garage." Like, good luck to Tom Homan coming for him.
Yeah, he says now. The New York Post just tweeted out Murphy's claim that he's protecting a migrant at his home was misinterpreted. The rep says, but it doesn't look like that's what he's. Look, whatever it is in your heart's gonna come out. So he's probably got somebody above his basement that's illegal. So yeah. But yeah, we're here to give you a breath of truth and information, and I appreciate many of the people on social media that recognize that this is what we do. This is what we do, and this is what we've been doing, and we're happy to do it. Let me ask you a question before we roll out. I put out a question last night. Who do you think has been the most effective Trump team member to date? Now, some people don't want to. I can't do it. But let me ask you, Jay, who do you think has been the most effective Trump member to date? Would it be Tom Homan? Would it be Sean Duffy?
I think Holman or the Dodge team or the Doge team. I mean, I really like what the Doge team's doing, because
you also have Rubio now.
Yeah, Rubio's doing some good things. Like, that's why it's like picking your favorite kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, Wayne, which is your favorite children? Let's put it on the air right now.
I don't.
You can't. Like,
I don't have.
I'm not. And I mean, we're 2 weeks in, and with the severity of what they've done, to not have like major missteps is pretty remarkable. So,
myself, I have to go with Holman.
I think Holman, yeah,
because he got people marching through the streets,
and he don't care.
In every city, and he don't care. He's talking about arresting the governor. So right now, the most effective. I mean, he has people hiding. He literally has people hiding. He on top of that, he literally has people coming up with ways legal ways to respond so that they don't go nowhere.
Yeah, Holman's
You know,
great.
that's legit, man. That's tough. And he don't care. He's like, I don't care.
And he is like a man of so few words, where he's like, we're going to send him home.
Yeah, we're going to send him home. Jay, give me some last thoughts before we get out of here.
All right. I'm going to give one last thought, and it's going to have a few pieces to it, because I want to call out, like, we have the best audience. Like, I love the Rumble chat, but the Facebook chat, the Twitter chat, all that stuff's good. But like Debbie on Facebook, I pray the American people are sick of the Democrats. And then somebody, I forget who it was talking about we need a real Republican leader in the House. I lose it. Man, the chat is just so active right now. Hey, even to your question, everybody's voting in on that. Cavid had said something about it. Pete Hegseth he likes. But one thing that I want to frame up using that comment from Debbie, Trump is getting stuff done this time, not because of the Democrats. And the Democrats are in disarray right now. It's because we've terrified the rhinos. Understand, Mitch McConnell, John Thune are just as much against us as Chuck Schumer is. Like, there is no difference. You know, we've got probably 5 or 10 people in the Senate, probably 20, 30 people in the House that are really on our side being MAGA, everyday American citizens. So don't lose sight of the Democrats, and why these things are moving forward is because we have terrified the rhinos, where they're like, holy cow, like, this isn't stopping. Like, people see this populist movement waking up and they want to be a part of it. And they're starting to say things like, why isn't it great to think America is the greatest country? They see these Mexicans protesting with the Mexican flags, burning American flags. And then just the everyday citizen is going to go, why don't you go back to Mexico? And then, like, they're just, yeah, they are making it worse for themselves. But don't lose sight that while Democrats are awful and evil too, the Rhino Republicans stand a greater chance of derailing Trump and the MAGA movement than the Democrats do. So hold them accountable on that note.
All right. We will be back tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. God bless you. And make sure that you share the show. Again, visit rvmnews.com. Also check out the Lindell Network. And you can also download or listen to our podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. We ask you to, wherever you listen to the podcast, leave a rating and leave a comment so that we can read it later. With that said, we're out. God bless.